This is one of the biggest questions that startup founders face as they're scaling. Should I hire an operator who's going to take all of this work off my plate? Or should I first build out all of the systems and then hire them in to make their job easier? If you get this wrong, then you either burn a ton of money or burn a ton of time staying stuck in your business when you didn't need to. So in this video, I am going to break down when to hire, who to hire, how to hire, to make sure that you are getting the right operator that you need at the exact right stage of growth for your business. Let's dive into it. Okay, so we have a chicken and egg situation here, right? Do I hire first so they build the systems to get me out of the day-to-day weeds? Or do I build the systems first, scale up the business, and then hire in somebody to run them? Let's break down each of these options. Okay, what happens if we build the systems first and then we make the hire? Here's the pros and cons. On one hand, someone has to build the systems. So it's not gonna be your operator. Guess what? That ends up being you. Are you going to spend all of your time and energy building those systems out so then your operator can step in and make them better? So it's expensive. It's expensive in terms of your time and your energy that could have otherwise been spent focused on sales and marketing and bringing more revenue into the business. There's also the challenge of quality, because let's be honest, you're an incredible visionary founder. Systems and SOPs, probably not really your thing. So you're gonna have these rough systems in place, and then by the time you get your operator in, they're gonna need to come in and do a massive facelift and get the operations in place that you need to scale. On the flip side, you don't have to pay that operator's salary yet, and you're able to take that money and reinvest it into sales and marketing and growing your business faster and holding off on a key and sometimes expensive hire when maybe right now you don't have the budget for it, right? So those are the pros and cons of like, let's first build the system, then let's make the hire. What if we do that in reverse? First, we make the hire and then they build the systems. So on the con side, it's expensive, right? Now you have to pay for this salary, and this isn't some sort of like performance or commission role. It's just like a flat salary that you're going to be stacking into your expenses every single month. On the flip side, what do you gain? You gain a ton of time and energy back, because now you have a systems expert who is going and building all of those systems with you and for you so that you don't have to. All of that time and energy that would have been spent on building the system or tweaking the SOP or training the team, you now get to get that time back and reinvest it on growth. The other positive is that you now know that you have the right quality of system, the system that can actually scale and take you to where your company is trying to go. Because if we've hired this operator correctly, they should know how to build the systems and how to build the SOPs, not just that your company needs today, but that your company needs 6 months from now, 12 months from now, and they're always going to be keeping those systems up to date for you. What I most often see is some combination of the two, where when a founder is just starting out, they're going to build an initial set of rough systems, rough SOPs, right? Like they're gonna have the basics of a sales and marketing CRM, and they're gonna have the basics of a task and project management, and they're gonna have the basics of Slack and the Slack channels that they're using to communicate with their team. But all of it's pretty rough and dirty, and none of it is super scalable. And then as the company starts to build and grow, guess what? The systems, these bad, rough systems, end up breaking. And by the time we're like 100 spreadsheets deep into our Google Drive folder, nobody can find anything and drop balls are happening everywhere, then the founder's like, all right, time to go hire an operator to come in and clean this thing up. That's what I most often see, but here's what I would recommend instead. By the way, if you wanna know how an operator makes you money and drives profit, bottom line profit to your business, go ahead, check out my operations profit finder. It's in the link below, and it takes 10 minutes or less to identify where profit is leaking out of your business and what your operator can do to close those gaps and bring profit back into your company starting tomorrow. So if you already have an operator, you're not sure what they should be working on, or you're not sure they're working on the right thing, go ahead and grab that tool. It's going to immediately direct their focus and make sure they're bringing their highest value to you and to your business. If you don't yet have an operator, here is the flow that I would recommend. So most founders, when they're just starting out, let's be honest, we don't have the budget to hire a really experienced operator, and there's just like not that much stuff going on in our business yet up until about the 30 to 50K per month mark. And then right around that revenue, that's when our spreadsheets start to fail and the balls start to get dropped and the chaos starts to creep up. And at that point, those rough and dirty systems no longer work to take us where we want to go. So here's instead what I would recommend. We need to be tracking 2 resources. The first is time, specifically your time as the founder. Where are you spending your time, and how much of your time are you spending building systems that don't work super well and then break, and then you have to go in and you have to pick up the dropped balls or put out the fires that come from having not the right systems that you need, right? So time is the first resource. The other resource is going to be money. How much budget do you have to hire in an operator to then free up your time, right? So as we are starting to grow and scale our business, we should be keeping an eye on these two resources. And at some point, the cost of your time being spent on low value work and picking up dropped balls and putting out day-to-day fires and being in Slack hours and hours every single day, tracking down information, making sure the right work is getting done. All of that time is eventually going to stack and stack and stack and tip the scales to the point that it makes sense for you to invest the budget into the salary of an operator who is going to free up all of that time, who's going to give you that time back so you can reinvest it into growth. So at some point, the cost of the time being wasted because we don't have the systems and team that we need to truly scale, is going to exceed the salary of bringing in your first operations hire. In my experience, especially for digital marketing agencies, that tipping point happens somewhere around the $50K per month mark. And the biggest mistake that I see founders make is that they wait way too long. They wait until they're at 100K, 150K, where they are wasting by that size so much time, 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week of their time spent stuck in the day-to-day weeds of their business when they don't have to be. Because just by investing in one salary, by investing in their operator, they would be able to get all of that time back and reinvest that time into value add growth. So the too long didn't read is, no, don't hire an operator from day one. You can make it with a notebook and some Google spreadsheets and everything in Slack for a little while until your company starts to get traction. But around that 50K per month, I honestly don't recommend scaling more than 75K a month before you bring in that initial ops hire who's going to clean up your systems, up-level your team, get everything documented and processed out in your business, and quiet the day-to-day chaos and take that day-to-day off of your plate so that you can now reinvest that time into scaling to 100K per month, 150K per month, 250K per month, backed by the right systems and the right team. So if we're circling back to our chicken and egg here, it ultimately comes down to what stage of growth are you currently in? For many of you, you may already be past that 50, 75K per month mark and be like, oh, I should have hired my operator 6 months ago. Yeah, you probably should have. And if you need support doing that, check out my other videos where I break down the step-by-step of how to hire an operator and what to look for. If you already have that person in the role and you're thinking to yourself, but Jhana, I'm still working 10, 20, 30 hours a week in the weeds of my business, then that means there's a gap between what your operator currently is doing and what they should be doing to scale you and scale your business to the next level. And again, I would direct you towards my other videos. I have tons of trainings for operators and what operators should be doing. And if that's the case, again, check out my Profit Finder. It's going to tell you and your operator where they should be focused in the business to start actually moving the needle on what matters, which is your growth and your profit. Or you're in the lucky third category of founder who is not yet at that 50 to 75K per month mark. And you can actually now start tracking your time versus your budget and make this hire at the right moment so that you are able to scale faster than the other people who are waiting way too long and wasting way too much time in the day-to-day weeds of their business. Okay, so now we know that it's not an either or, right? It's not systems versus operator. It's about when. Should I bring in the systems first or should I bring in that operations hire first? It's about sequencing, and that comes down to the stage of growth that you're currently in. Regardless, in order for this to work, you need both. You need the right person in the role building the right systems. So now that we know when to go out and hire that operator, let's turn to what they should actually be doing, which is building out the essential systems inside of your business that you need to successfully grow and scale. You can check that out in my next video, and I will see you over there.